that I know you're actually here for me. You're not just stuck in one room. So I love on conferences. I do this for a living. My name is Petersil. For many, many years now, I've been a serial entrepreneur traveling around the world, living in many different countries. As an introvert and an immigrant, I've had to break through a lot of situations, and I've had to life hack my way through challenging networks. And when I find myself in a situation where the world's got all this challenge, I have realized that masterminding is one of the greatest ways to bring together the collective genius. Just like an event like this is able to bring some amazing people together. So before I kind of start, because I don't know if I really have 8 minutes enough, because I was told I'm supposed to start 25 minutes ago, but I was just sent a message telling me that, no, I have 30 minutes. And the next speaker is an amazing guy. So yeah, I'll let him kind of jump in whenever he's ready. But just so that I know who's with me, you can either choose to introduce yourself in 10, 20 seconds, or just write something into the chat. I'm just curious to know who you are, so that I know you're actually with me. I see some nice names from different parts of the world. Some of you have pictures, which is cool. I like people who have pictures on their Zoom. Some of you actually have your video on. Wow, you have your video on. Welcome to using technology. And some of you just have the avatar. Like, come on, guys, Zoom 2020. Let's start introducing ourselves. So I'm going to just check. I'm just curious to know who you are. Based on who you are, I'll kind of customize my chat. I do this for a living. I do this about 100 times a year. Outside of owning multiple multi-million-dollar companies, which I've understood how to now be a business owner, not a business operator. I've now stepped up and I work on the businesses, not in the businesses. And because my passion is coaching people and working people on a global level, speaking and showing up at events and being able to add value and serve has become an important part. I'm hearing someone else. Did I just hear someone else speak? Oh, Andreas. Andreas, did you want to say something? Okay. So if anybody wants to introduce themselves in 10, 20 seconds, just raise your hand so that I know you want to, because I'm curious to know who you guys are. If not, just put it into the chat. I see Marcus introduced himself. I see Andreas introduced himself. Well, Andy, you just put your Twitter account, Andy. That's not really introducing yourself. That's just sending people outside of the Zoom call. That's funny. Introducing yourself, Daniel from Germany. Daniel, that is the worst introduction I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, come on, man. Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself in 10, 15 words, Like, hi, I'm Daniel. Father of 2 kids, passionate about doing this and this, and for business, this is what I do. Something, man. Daniel for Germany. Something. Give me a little bit.
Hey, I put my Twitter account because the biography is the shortest introduction I have, but I will paste the Twitter biography into the chat now.
Okay, you could do that, Andreas. Julie, who are you? HP, who are you? Nancy, Amber. Amber, nice picture. Come on, Amber. Introduce yourself. I hope you guys are not hearing my kids going crazy there and playing around. We just moved into a new house. So I'm going to just jump right in. And you think that some people are active, some people are not. That's all right. So the topic that the organizers asked me to speak about is masterminding, which is really bringing together the collective genius, allowing people to utilize other people's resources by working with strangers like mentors, working with strangers like an expert, learning how to ask people for help in a constructive manner, learning how to introduce yourself in an appealing manner that almost becomes like a magnet, so that when you introduce yourself, people are like, okay, Daniel for Germany, that didn't give me anything to work with. But if Daniel introduced himself in 10, 15 words, I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Tell me more sort of approach. So I want Daniel to really introduce himself again. I'm curious. Daniel, I don't mean to be on you, man. Yeah.
Basically, Studied in Germany, lived in Australia for 2 years, moved to China via scholarship, set up a company in China, been consulting many companies, living in Hong Kong, setting up one of the biggest crypto companies in Hong Kong, moved now back to Germany to supporting a clean tech company.
Okay, wow. So Daniel, do you mind if I pick on you a little bit? Is that okay? Can I use you as an awesome example? So, you know,
yeah, sure.
I don't know how many of you have been to masterminds. I've ran hundreds of masterminds around the world, and as a global speaker on the power, the art and science behind human networking, I've learned that as humans, one of the biggest opportunities we have and one of the biggest challenges we have is to just connect with other humans. So Daniel, for example, looks like a super professional guy, traveled the world, awesome guy. Don't know if he's married or not, don't know if he's got kids or not, but you know, he's a nice looking guy. Why not talk to a guy like that? But for example, when he tells me where he studied, that's completely irrelevant. Completely, I don't care where he studied many years ago. It's not like he finished university a couple of years ago. Telling me that he moved around the world is really, really interesting. Telling me that he's setting up the biggest company in cryptocurrency tells me the industry he's in, but I still actually have no idea what he does for a living, because cryptocurrency follows many, many different industries. You could be cryptocurrency in education, you could be cryptocurrency in gold, you could be cryptocurrency in anything these days. So what I've learned that is really the essence and the principles of a mastermind is the way you introduce yourself in 10 to 15 seconds. Like, for example, you know, proud father of two and a happy husband that been traveling around the world quite a bit as a serial entrepreneur. Currently, I'm focused on public speaking while still managing my business that's involved in events and education. You know, that's me, for example. But I've never said that twice in the same way. I could tell you that I'm an Israeli Canadian who got lost in England and Russia for many, many years. As a passionate chef, I love bringing people together for different edutainment style events. And we've done that with over 1,000 events over the last 10 years. For example, I could tell you that as a serial entrepreneur, I have a passion to help people connect, help them flourish through strategic networking, through understanding the methodology of a mastermind in order to help them find more opportunities and potentially explore how any problem they have in their life can disappear in a snap of a finger. So that's just me randomly like giving you different introductions, but the principles of any good mastermind is for you to get people to say, that's interesting. I want to follow up and connect with that person again. Now, masterminds had many, many different levels. I don't know how many of you have ever been to any masterminds, show of hand, or like put in the chat, yes, give me a thumbs up on the chat if you want. Masterminds is something that I've started to learn from Napoleon Hill, who wrote the book, the Think and Grow Rich. And when he spoke about masterminds, he said it in a very simple way. When two minds come together, they actually create a third. And that took me a while to actually understand. It actually took me over 10 years to truly understand when I set up a company called Meet Partners with My Wife, which initially was just a speed dating company. Anyone ever been to a speed dating company? Come on, people, give me a thumbs up. Give me something in the chat. Nice. I like that. Danielle and Marcus. I love that. Very, very cool. So speed dating companies taught me early on how to talk to women. And I'll be very, very honest, you know, as a born introvert who has always been an immigrant. You know, I left Israel at the age of 10 and I had to learn new languages. I had to connect. English, for example, is not a language I've ever learned in school. English is a language that I had to pick up on the streets. And what was really special is through this development of being an introvert, when I went to speed dating events, as an example, I had to learn how to talk to women in 5 minutes, which taught me a lot, because that first 5 minutes, that first 1 minute of self-introduction makes a massive impression on someone. When it comes to masterminding, what do masterminding do? If you meet several people within a mastermind, what actually happens is collectively, you're able to add something from your mind, which actually is the way our brains get to truly flourish. What does that actually mean, Gil? Because it sounds really pretty. What it actually means that your mind, especially if you're in your late 20s to, you know, late 80s or 90s or 100s, once you pass your mid 20s, your mind starts closing off, as in you have your own limiting beliefs. You have your own, like, you know, systems of understanding. You have your own way of life. You have your own, you know, routines. You have your own habits. You have your own style of working, which means our mind tends to kind of not close off as in I'm not open to anything. Our mind tends to say, well, I know the answer. I know what to do. I've been there before. Your mind actually comes up with answers to help us feel safe. Where masterminds come in, masterminds allow new people to put something in your mind. Your mind will never have put by itself. And then your mind by itself will say, that's an interesting piece. Let me integrate that into what I already know. So what happens in a normal mastermind, an average of 8 to 10 people will come together and they would choose a topic or they would choose a direction. They would choose time. For example, 8 people will say, we want to allocate the next 1 hour to a mastermind. What actually happens in that hour? The time gets split up into every single person within the mastermind itself. And people then choose to, one, introduce themselves in just 1 minute. We go around a circle. Everyone gets to introduce themselves. If we had 30 minutes to an hour with you today, and I'd have to teach you about this stuff or share with you, I'd actually run a mastermind with you. Why not, you know? But I see that some people are what we call observers. They're just listening. Some people are actually active. If you've just joined our chat, please introduce yourself into the chat. Hi, Yi Heng, and hi, Ulari. Wow. Please introduce yourself into the chat so that we know who you are. You could say where you're from, who you are, what you do, and 15 or 20 words. That'd be nice to see. Hi, Brady. Hi, Olivia. Feel free to introduce yourselves into the chat so that we know what's going on, where you're from, what do you do, what's your favorite pet. So the way a mastermind works is, number one, we build trust. The easiest way to build trust is to introduce yourself in more than 2 words. Don't you hate it when you go to all these networking events, or you go to any kind of business conference and you ask someone what they do? I'm in real estate. I'm a consultant. What the hell does that mean? Give me a little bit more. Give me something to work with. If you give me something to work with, I can